Madam Speaker, the American people have spoken. They have fired you and have chosen to end the Democrats' one-party rule throughout our government. The days of this chamber being treated as Pelosi's house instead of the people's house are over.
That's right. Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. It is Sunday, and you know what that means. It's Sunday Night Live. Hey, it's Sunday. Sunday Night Live. That means this is the zoo. That means it's not just questions and answers for people on Subscribestar and the preparedmind.club. It's also the YouTubers. So YouTubers can get in on this if you want. This is your chance live. Hit that super chat button up there and tell me your thoughts, your wishes, your desires, your dreams. No, wait a minute. Don't tell me about your mother. No, I'm not your shrink. Yeah, I'm the prophet of prepping. I have been into this and on this for decades, folks. Going back to even my childhood, I was prepping. Oh, my God. See, I had a bag of rice that I bagged up when I was 16, and I ate it when I was, where the hell was I? 16. It's a 30-year bag of rice. And it was a little powdery, but it was good nonetheless. Hey, get this. If you've got something you want to talk about, a prediction in the future that you have, something about the past that you want to describe. You want to talk politics, military, these fruitcake yo-yo LGB types. You want to talk about the law, you name it, guns, you bring it up. It's your topic. I'll make you a star. Anyways, and on top of everything else, everyone who does a $50 or more super chat donation gets to buy me a drink of 18-year single malt Glenlivet. And so I've got this right here. I may have had a little bit beforehand just to get me kind of fired up, kill the pain. And I tell you what, I do get to get up 0 dark 30 tomorrow. And I get to read the headlines, and then I get to drive and go deal with reality and then come back here every day, folks. You know, it's almost like I do this too much. It feels like it. So let's get into this. Who is going to start the show off first? It is none other, folks, than Darcy T, who's here every week, kicking the show off with a $50 super chat donation. And I tell you what, sometimes I kind of forget. $50 is $50. So I'll pour a nice Glenlivet there and say thank you to you, Darcy. Thank you to everyone. Cheers, salut, prost. Down the hatch. Oh, that'll get the old mental lubricants going up there. So, Darcy says this. Good evening, John. Part of the climate action plans for various cities around the U.S. include carbon capture and storage. We know that the criminals in charge are always up to no good. So what do you suppose the underlying plan is for its use? That's an interesting question. What are they doing with this carbon that they're capturing? Well, carbon dioxide. Where do we most familiarly hear about carbon dioxide when we're not talking about climate change? That's right, folks. Coca-Cola, beer, right? Soda pop, cervezas. That's what the cute little bubbles in your drink. That's carbon dioxide. I wonder when we're going to have to start paying a beer tax, a special carbon beer tax. What are they going to do with this carbon? So if they have carbon dioxide scrubbers to pull the carbon out of the air, it's going to pull the carbon dioxide out of the air. Are they going to some way magically split the oxygen off of the carbon and just have pure carbon and release the oxygen out into the atmosphere? I'm sure no matter what they do, they're going to say it has a detrimental effect. No matter what. I mean, if you recall, and it's not hard to recall that when we cleaned the air up, because everyone was locked down, there weren't as many automobiles out, there weren't as many planes out. And then they said, well, good golly, all of this clean air is causing climate change. They're fucking morons is what they are, folks. Absolute morons. Yeah. Absolute morons. The plan for its use, I don't really believe there's a plan for its use. I believe, and it is my impression, that all they want to do is tax us. This is foo-foo dust in the wind, right? It's like paying a carbon footprint tax. Where does the money go? Does it really go to pay to remove the carbon dioxide, the carbon? The best way to remove the carbon from the air, the carbon dioxide, is to have plants and trees do what they do every single day, whether they tax you or not. Plants convert carbon dioxide into oxygen, and they collect and hold the carbon, and they make wood out of it. There you go. There you have it. These people are crazy, folks. And I'm going to even, I used to think, well, they're crazy, but they ain't stupid. I'm starting to really doubt whether or not they're intelligent, because the things they ask us to believe are just asinine. Absolutely freaking asinine. Wow. All right. Thank you very much, Darcy, for always supporting the Prepared Mind channel. Folks, your donations go into the Get the Fuck Back and Stay Back Fund. It keeps this channel up. It keeps the bunker sealed and plentifully stacked with tuna and Spam. And the occasional bottle of Glenlivet makes its way back into the bunker. And I want to thank you guys for making all of that happen. So yeah, $50 super chat donation, $50 or more gets me a drink, but it keeps us talking as well. And I've got stuff I want to talk about. So if you guys want to talk about stuff, you bring up your topics, your opinions. I can already cover something. You can put up a topic where you argue against it, in favor of it. Agree with me, disagree. I don't give a shit. See, this is the important thing, is that we talk. We communicate, right? We need to do that. It's like they won't let us talk about Cerveza bug and the Jim Jones juice. But hey, how about this? You see, the Sopranos star, John Ventimiglia, well, his daughter died, age 25. I don't know why. It makes me wonder, though, why is it that so many people are dying now? It didn't say died of a car crash. What have we been regaled with? Well, young people are now having heart attacks, strokes, blood clots, seizures, and pulmonary problems. It's all of a sudden, suddenly. So what do you think? It's incredible to me that the FDA has pulled AstraZeneca's Jim Jones juice. It's incredible to me that the FDA, yes, and now the CDC is saying, oh no, has nothing to do with everyone kicking the bucket, getting sick, having heart attacks. Folks, there's a lot of people having heart attacks. They're not dying. I mean, a lot are, but a lot of them are just like, yeah, I had a heart attack. My life is ruined now. Gee whiz. Thank you, Dr. Fauci. Right. The thing is that the ones that die, though, dead men tell no tales. Yeah, but people have basically had it. I think they've figured it out finally. Finally. And it's not just one person a day, folks. I don't scour the news looking for that one person. No. WSU. I don't even know what fucking college that is. I guess I could find out, right? I could find out. What college is WSU? A 19-year-old student found dead in his dorm. I love how in this case, the media said there was no foul play, no evidence of foul play. Well, what does that leave then? Right? What does that fucking leave? Just, if it's not foul play in college, then it's probably, take a wild freaking guess, right? The Jim Jones Juice. It shouldn't surprise any of us, folks. We're going to keep getting these stories, these horrific, awful stories. Okay, let's do this. Jolene, ooh man, who wants to step on up and do a super chat donation and ask an important question? And it is none other than Frank Rizzo with a $9.99 super chat donation. And Big Frank says, how many boosters would a woodchuck take if it was still alive after the 4th? Well, I'll tell you what, Frank, you nailed that one right in the head. See, the woodchuck, if he's still living after the 4th, how many boosters would he take? Well, woodchucks are known for their counting skills. He would take another 2 and then see if he lives through that. Fucking woodchucks. How about this? Let's leave the prairies and go to domestic livestock. This was just fascinating. In Connecticut, aka Connecticut, there was a massive fire at an egg farm. You know, was it a massive fire at a tiny egg farm? Was it a, it's just unbelievable what's going on. Now, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. Is this egg farm? Does it sell eggs to everyone in Connecticut or all of New England? It just doesn't matter. It just seems like this continues to happen. Fires, eggs, food processing. I'm not hearing about any fires at any cricket ranches. Have you heard about that? No. But this is just one more thing that's just driving people up the wall. They're seeing this strange movement in hyperinflation. My fuel prices are going back up. Going back up. Over $4 a gallon for gas again. Going back up. Why? Why at all? Right? It's incredible. A lot of other things have happened this weekend, of course. Of course. And what was it? Well, the brutal murder of Tyree, whatever the fuck his name is. Several idiot Democrats have tried blaming the murder of Tyree Nichols on white supremacy. It's almost like they didn't realize that 5 black policemen were the ones who did it. Still, freshman Democrat Maxwell Frost was blaming their behavior, the 5 blacks that murdered him. He's blaming the white supremacists. What was the other one? Cori Bush, Democrat Representative Cori Bush, one of the greatest tards in Congress. She did the same. Maxwell Frost decided to delete his tweet because I think when you read it, it just gets stupider and stupider. But I had a good friend ask me today, how did we get to where we're at today, John? How the fuck did we get here? Seriously, how did we get this far along? It's like we woke up all of a sudden, everyone is just retarded. Absolutely retarded. I don't know. Ooh, man, what do you think, man? What do you think is going on around here? I don't know. Get your questions up here as well, Lou, man. You've always got little thoughts, right? You got these thoughts in your head. This was a big deal to me. but I'm going to save it. I would like to do another super chat donation. I know we've got one out there. Where is it? We're at 310 people live right now on the clicker counter. I want it to hit 500. So let's do that. Let's see, texting, email, smoke signals, carrier pigeon. Send the message out. People need to wake the hell up. We need to wake the hell up. All right, let's do a super chat donation, Jolene. We got Bonnie Blue 2A with a $99.99 super chat donation. And this is interesting. Oh, good golly. Well, number one, you just bought John a very tasty beverage, and I want to thank you, Bonnie Blue. And your topic, I saw a couple words in there, and that disturbs me greatly. Cheers, everyone. I'm going to get wound up tonight. Yes, sir. Or yes, ma'am, as it were. Heard from a friend that Tampa Electric is implementing a de facto carbon tax. Rate hike after X amount of kilowatt hours consumed. Electric companies, they are interesting corporations. They're supposed to operate under contract. They're supposed to operate for the benefit of the public. They're not like a standard corporation. I find this incredibly disturbing that they're just going to start implementing a carbon tax. Is it justified? Is it necessary? How does it help? How does it help the ratepayer? You see, that's what we are. These beautiful lights here, right? I'm a ratepayer. How is a carbon tax going to help me? I think I like it warmer. How about all you people up north? How are you liking your snow? I got a picture from Lucas, my son. It was so fucking cold that the fog was freezing to everything. Everything looked like it was shards and crystals growing off it. It's fucking cold. Having things 10 degrees hotter just might feel good. Now I know in the summer, everyone's like, sure, it would be nice to have some cooler weather, but it's not that hard, right? Anyways, we're having trouble. It is coming. These people, they don't care. They're just going to make you choke on it. They're going to make you take it. I wonder if the people around Tampa, Florida, I'm guessing. I wonder if the people in Tampa got to vote on this. Did they have public hearings? Did they discuss the benefits of such a thing? Did they discuss the science? This is another one of these moves. And where the hell is Governor DeSantis on this? We're just going to, I mean, isn't he the non-woke governor? Oh, yeah, that shit's kicking my ass already. If he's Mr. Non-woke, he needs to get in there and just tell him, what the fuck do you think you're doing? This isn't Connecticut. This isn't Illinois. This isn't California. You can't just implement a carbon tax. In fact, Tampa Electric is not a government. What government is making electric companies tax their people? They don't have the right to tax any fucking buddy. Electric companies don't. I'm going to have to make a couple of freaking phone calls and find out about this shit. Unfucking believable. All right, I'm getting wound up. The old Glenn Levitt's kicking in. Everything's feeling kind of loose. I'm ready to fight. Bring it on. Jolene, who do we have next here on Sunday Night Live at the Zoo? We got Shelly Chavers with a $10 super chat donations. And guess what? This is going to get interesting. Let me get into it. She says, we have chickens. Supposedly the avian flu is causing blood clots instead of the jab. What do I do when they come for my chickens? That's a hell of a question right there, Shelly. Let's talk about this big time. Folks, it's not about the Jim Jones juice. It's not about the chickens. It's not about the avian flu. It's not about, well, it's about all of those things. It's about control. Seriously, this is what this is about. Control. That's all they care about is control. They want to control you. What you eat, what you drink, where you spend your money, how you make your money, how far you can travel. They want to control what you think. They want to control what you say. They want to control what you hear. Avian flu. Never mind the avian fucking flu. You've got chickens, Shelly. They can lay eggs. Eggs are food that don't come from food fucking factories, where half the shit they put in food coming from food factories isn't food. It's chemicals. It's crap. It's a bunch of hormone-laced soy crap. Anyways, they're going to come for your chickens because they want to take your freedom away. I think chickens are every bit as valuable as the Second Amendment, right? The keep and bear chickens shall not be infringed. Folks, when the stores don't have food, who's going to have food? Farmers, preppers, chicken ranchers. I think that they really did turn the avian flu loose to start killing chickens intentionally, on purpose. I mean, all of a sudden, the avian flu shows up at a time when we've got massive inflation and the government is trying to take away our food and feed us fucking worms and crickets. Oh, and beetles and locusts. And of course, everyone's favorite, yeast vomit, which of course makes things taste like real beef. Unbelievable. Thank you, Shelly. I would protect my chickens. I really would. I'll protect my chickens to the death. At this point, fuck it, because that's what's at stake. That's all they have in mind for you is death. They want you to be a sickly, skinny, weak, stupid human being that they can control and dominate and scare anytime they want. That's what they want. That is exactly what they want and what they need. And so they'll intimidate us. They'll frighten us. They'll threaten us. And ultimately, they'll come for us, our guns, our rights, and our chickens. All right, Jolene, let's do another Super Chat donation. We need to get these rolling. And it is none other than our good friend of the channel, Chin Music, with a $19.99 Super Chat donation. And so Chin says, John, great show on Thursday. I share your emotions. Thanks for all you do. And this week's lesson is never get in the way of a Pfizer exec on a sausage quest. He will reflex lie and then break your iPad. It was incredible. It was absolutely incredible that this guy, this executive, a director at Pfizer, director of research and development, admits on camera, he doesn't know he's on camera, while talking to someone else. He doesn't even know who the fuck he is, but he's so gleeful that he's murdering people, that they're enriching themselves at your expense. And he's like, I'm going to tell you this shit, man, but you can't tell anyone else. It's like, really? Yeah, tell me, man, tell me more. And then when he's questioned about it, yeah, he lies, and then he gets violent. That sounds a lot like everyone on the left. Everyone on the left. You know, if words are violence, if a word is a microaggression, I love it, right? Like, let's see, if a bull was running down the street and ran me over, you could say that was an act of violence. If a mosquito lands on me and bites me, that is a micro-violence, right? Something bad still happened. It just didn't leave me in the fucking hospital. Still, it's a mosquito, right? So to them, words, even though, you know, the sound waves bumping into them, they don't really hurt them. It's still considered a microaggression. So they can lose their shit. They could feel they have to defend themselves, right, at all costs, and they can respond violently. Oh, it's incredible where these idiots are taking everything, folks. And just as a kind of a, we'll see if anyone wants to get on this subject. This weekend, I did not see as much violence as I thought might be out there. But I did see a lot of Antifa people getting their asses kicked on the street. I enjoyed that. Thank you very much, Mr. Skylight, for sending me that stuff. And yeah, people have had it with these punks. I don't know, do they not have the steam, Antifa? Are they afraid? Or maybe they don't have the funding. Maybe there's not enough money to give them. Pretty interesting, right? I've noticed lately a lot of people who have lost their asses with their investments. They get a little grumpy. They get a little upset. They're pissed off because their investments are doing shit. I wonder if that's the same deal with Antifa. They're like, hey, man, we need money. But like their lenders, their supporters, they're like, we're losing our ass on the stock market. I'll tell you what, my investments in food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, they're paying dividends. I sleep when I sleep very well because I've invested very, very well. I haven't lost a single can of spam to the stock market. Inflation hasn't taken down the value of all my preps. In fact, it's just made them more valuable. Anyways, let's do this. But we have it. We have it coming. We got a lot coming, in fact. And I want to say Mr. T has been very, very busy making new promos, new picks, everything else. So here it is, right? Has World War III now begun? That's a rather serious look on my face, wouldn't you say? Yeah, I was in kind of a serious mood the other day. And it's because I read this. The head of the NATO Military Committee, Admiral Rob Bauer, he had a little comment. Got my attention. He said NATO, that's the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. NATO is ready for a direct confrontation with Russia. Oh, really? Really? How fascinating is that? Get this, for all of you who like numerology. Admiral Rob Bauer, is the 33rd chair of the military committee. I'm sure there's a lot of conspiracy nuts out there worried about that number. Anyways, Admiral. I wonder if he's a rear admiral. Anyways, he says that NATO's ready for direct confrontation with Russia. I didn't know NATO was preparing. I didn't know that NATO needed to worry about it since Ukraine is not a NATO country. Now, here is a quote. This is an important signal for Russia that we are prepared if they decide to go after NATO. This is a red line. If there is a red line, then it is the Russians crossing our borders. Oh, that's pretty interesting. You see, it's like they're threatening Russia. Right? If you dare come into a NATO country, it's war, and we're ready for you. Russia, I don't think, has any designs to enter a NATO country. No. They're in Ukraine, and they're pretty busy dealing with shit there. Very interesting. Now, Joe Biden, of course, says he wants to send M1A1, M1A2 Abrams to Ukraine. Poland wants to send German-made tanks, Leopards, into Ukraine, and I think Germany has now said, we're fighting with Russia, and of course the rest of Europe is like, hey, speak for yourselves, buddy. While the leadership and the idiots in charge seem to be hell-bent on World War III, I think some other cooler countries are starting to say, that's enough of this shit. We need to back it down. I don't think we're going to back down, folks. I don't think that they're going to back it down. Bauer, the NATO dude, said that NATO countries ought to gear civilian industrial production to the needs of the military and expressed his support for the idea of war economy in peacetime. That's fascinating. If you're at peace, then you need to be in a wartime economy. It sounds like they're really pushing for war, like they really want it, like they know it's coming. Now, Bauer, Admiral Moron, added that he believes Russia has designs that extend far beyond Ukraine. And Moscow is wanting to claim territory of the former Soviet Union. That's interesting. I don't think so. I'm sure if everyone, got rid of their tanks, their airplanes, their bombs, and everything else, maybe Russia would be like, hey, these people are pretty stupid. But we still have nukes on our side, and a lot of them, and Russia knows it. I don't think they have any other design other than dealing with Ukraine and denazifying it. Once again, folks, they seem to just be stepping right over the fact that Ukraine's military, the Azov battalion, was committing war atrocities against civilians, against ethnic Russians. It was that, and of course, Biden and NATO threatening to open up Ukraine as a NATO country, which of course they said they would not do in a former agreement. They antagonized Putin some more until he finally said, enough of you people killing our citizens. We're going to put a stop to this shit. And ever since then, right, for the last year, here we are. Okay, that's a great topic indeed. Jolene, what do you want to talk about? What do we got out there? We got a super chat donation. What the heck is going on? We've got Marilyn Myers. Haven't seen Marilyn in a while. Welcome back. And she's here with a $9.99 super chat donation. And she says, an amazing long-time commercial chicken operation near us suddenly went up in flames this week. Somehow, cause unknown, but 10,000 birds are toast. Why? Now, this number one. Good to see you back, Marilyn. Number two, you just made me think in a different way. And I think that's important, to always be examining what the hell is going on. Yeah, okay, so by calling it a long-time commercial chicken operation, it's been there a long time. They know what the fuck they're doing. It's not like they said, well, let's start a chicken farm, and then the next week it catches on fire because they didn't understand that gasoline and matches shouldn't be together, right? So it went up in flames. And this other thing about flames starting, and people just all of a sudden have forgotten. They've just forgotten how to pick up a garden hose and squirt the flames out. Or, right, the fact that one barn is up in smoke, no one comes to the rescue, no one shows up. Interesting. Very, very interesting. But I'm going to continue, Marilyn, because this is important. Somehow the cause is unknown, but 10,000 birds are toast. I read the word toast. How come the price of chicken is not going through the roof, but the price of eggs are? What is the purpose? When the word unknown right there is, what are they up to with this? Is this Antifa and BLM setting fire to chicken barns, chicken hatches, chicken ranches? Is this the World Economic Forum and their good buddies? Right? Are they using drone strikes to light up chicken ranches? Why do they want to stop us? Not from eating food, but they're picking specifically on chickens. Why are they going after chickens? That is what really got my attention. Why chickens? Number one, anybody can own chickens. Anybody. You can have a small front yard and you can own chickens. Now, of course, getting food to feed the chickens is something. But what do chickens do? They eat bugs. They eat a lot of bugs. They are like the nemesis of bugs and mosquitoes. Chickens will fuck mosquitoes up. They have incredible eyesight. They eat mosquitoes. What is it? What is it that the government has talked about doing? Was it Chinese government? Was it American government? It was both. Talking about using mosquitoes to deliver, that's right, poisons, to deliver biological weapons. Right? Well, one of them claimed that they're going to use it to deliver a vaccine. That's right. Mosquito will inject you and hit you, and you'll get a vaccine that way. Some nice mRNA. So chickens are a threat to that, because the more chickens there are out here, right, the more mosquitoes and bugs they eat. Quite interesting. I don't know if that's enough. I don't know if like chickens are a threat to the Illuminati, but certainly, folks, the ability for you to keep your environment cleaned up using chickens. I mean, they go after all kinds of shit: worms, snakes, bugs, everything. But on top of that, you having your own source of food. Chickens are actually very healthy meat. They make delicious eggs, which are a great source of protein. And that's right, the chicken turns bugs into food. Bugs are not food for humans, folks. Bugs, in my opinion, and I'm not an expert, but in my opinion, from what I've read, bugs can cause serious toxicological problems in human beings if ingested too much, too frequently. All right, Jolene, let's do some super stickers. Oh, we got Ooman. He said, what price went up first, the chicken or the egg? Thank you, Ooman. It would be the egg. It would be the egg. By getting rid of the eggs, we get rid of future chickens. That's right. How many years does it take for a population of chickens, right, to become infertile, too old? Just a few years. If they can damage our chicken industry for a number of years, they won't be able to replace the old chickens with new ones fast enough, because all of these egg-laying facilities are getting screwed up. Oh, yeah, folks, they want to play games. All right. Thank you very much there, Mr. Uman. Okay, Jolene, now she let me know. Shelly Chavers did a $10 super sticker. Thank you, Shelly, very much. Super stickers are cool. I just know they're out there. It's good to get them. All right, and who is next? Who do we have next? We got Margie O with a $5 super sticker. Thank you, Margie. Every dollar goes into the GTFB and SB fund. That's the Get the Fuck Back, Stay Back fund. There was a time before the 2020 election. There was a time when I felt like I lived here in sunny California, in the Mad Max world. And I thought, I got to just get the hell out of there. And so I said, I'm going to do this RMZ thing, this real man zone. I'm going to go live in the jungle, take it easy. I'm going to chill, fuck the world. I can live on my own, right? And of course, what was my arch nemesis? It was a chicken, a fucking rooster in the jungle. Anyways, with everything getting really SHTF-ish, I was like, I've got to get back. I've got to get back to mainland America, because World War III is coming. SHTF is here. Mad Max is going to start, and I want to be in it. I want to be in it to win it, too. I don't want someone to say, well, all you did, John, was head south into the jungles of these southern areas and sit back drinking your pina colada and your contraband rum. Anyways, I came back, and you guys have been keeping this show alive by sponsoring it and supporting it. Now, life is very difficult. Like I said, I'm out every day, 0 dark 30, hitting the streets, doing what I can to pay bills, and you guys help make that happen, and you help carry the show on and bring it on. I think that just might be a mosquito that somehow came down the hatch and is floating around down here. I need a house chicken. I need a house chicken. Now, okay, Jolene, let's keep going. Let's keep rolling with what's happening. We got Successful Endeavors. He says, John, show that pic again, please. What pic would that be? This one here? Is this the one we're talking about? That's actually Roger. Roger is much more grouchy than I am. Has World War III begun? Is that what Successful wanted to see? Anyways, that's another goodie put together by our good friend, the Mad Max pick. Okay. All these, some of these were put together by Kaz, This one is Kaz. Like, he put this together. Some of them have been done by Jolene, and Mr. T does all the new stuff these days. And thank you to Mr. T and everyone else. Folks, we've got big trouble coming. Big troubles. Have you picked up on it yet? have you cotton on to what's happening? It's seriously go time. And I want to be in the best physical shape. I want to be in the best mental shape. And we need to also start doing this. For people doing super chat donations, come up with a SHTF scenario that you want an answer to. Write out your scenario, send it in, and I will deal with that scenario live, improvisationally. Okay, and speaking of improvisation, Jolene, who do we got next? Oh, shit, it is doing stuff with Nikki with a $50 super chat donation. And lo and behold, I think Nikki is trying to get me in trouble, and someone ought to take her to the woodshed. So we're going to pour another Glenn Levitt. I got to pace myself or I'm going to get fucked up. Thank you, Nikki. May you get what you deserve. Ooh, smooth. Just like mother's milk. So this is what Nikki has to say. Well, since we're on chickens, how did the chicken with no legs cross the road? In a KFC bucket. Now take a shot. LOL, love you. XO and XO. Nikki, we all love you. You're great. You're such a good smart ass. And folks, really, being a smart ass, questioning authority, making fun of what idiots say has been key. And I don't want to say this is how you become more intelligent. It's just part of it. Be a smart ass. Question them, right? What do when you question someone else's authority, you make them answer. Make them answer. Why? Why do I need to pay a carbon tax? Why? Why are eggs double in price? Right? This doesn't make any sense. It doesn't help us a freaking bit. Why did Joe Biden kill the Keystone Pipeline and kill oil production? Well, we found out the other day from Pete Buttigieg, the transportation secretary, the male human being, not a female. Pete is a male who decided he was going to adopt a baby and then chest feed him. That's not feeding. That's some sort of sick, perverted act. I don't even know what it is. But this is how these sick fucks think, folks. Get this. A convicted child sex offender was given custody of a little girl. These are Democrat decisions, folks. Democrat thinking. Oh, by the way, then he got her pregnant. Democrats, this is what they think. Oh, minor attracted persons, that's just fine. I'm going to chest feed a baby even though I'm a male. Right? He's the guy that says every decision the Biden government makes has climate as the priority. That's right. That's what they said just the other day. Every decision that the Biden administration makes thinks about the climate first. Everything looks normal to me, folks. It's fucking cold up north. It's warmer down south. The rain falls when it's cloudy, and when there's no clouds, it's sunny. I don't see the crisis. In fact, just 2 weeks ago, we heard that scary ice shelf down in Antarctica is no longer a threat of breaking off and destroying the world, as if an iceberg was going to do that. But John, that iceberg was the size of Rhode Island or Delaware. Hell, it may even have been as big as New Jersey. Well, now it's not a problem. You mean if an ice starts to melt and it gets more water on it and then it freezes again? I mean, ice happens? Yeah, ice happens, folks. Okay, Jolene, we're at 451. Fahrenheit 451, folks. That is the temperature at which paper auto-combusts, catches fire. Fahrenheit 451. That was a book written by Ray Bradbury, famed science fiction author. Fahrenheit 451 was about a character who worked for the fire department. But the fire department, folks, in this dystopian idiocy, would go out and set fires to people's homes that have books in them. Books were outlawed, censored. No one was allowed to read books. You could only know what the government wanted you to know. Another example, folks, of people understanding in the past what is happening in the future. They want to take away our books, our thinking, everything. They want to give us what they want us to know, right? Scary shit. Okay, Jolene, we got some super chat donations out there. What's happening? Oh, my goodness. Woo! Independence Ranch with a $9.99. No, $99.99 super chat donation. And cheers, he says. Oh, boy. Thank you very much for the great support. Seriously, man. Thank you. Thank you to all. This is this takes the heat off of me and allows me to put this brain to work digging into these fucking idiots out here and the bullshit they're trying to pull over our eyes. Well, fuck that. You're not pulling the wool over my eyes. Salut. Ooh. Ooh. That is good. Nothing like single malt scotch to get your attention. All right, now this is incredible. And I read this article. Thank you, Mr. Independence. I read this article, college basketball star. I heard those three words, college basketball star. And I thought, this guy's dead. He had a heart attack, suddenly died. No. He had something suddenly happen, though. And what is that suddenly? He says, in his words, his balls exploded. And I just thought, what the fuck is going on? Seriously, what is going on? What planet are we on now? His balls exploded, right? So this guy, the college basketball player down in Clemson, right? Brevin Galloway. And he decided to share on Instagram that his balls and nutsack exploded, right? Now, they're calling it an injury, but it occurred, after taking a nap. So it wasn't like he was in a ball kicking contest. It wasn't like he was running all day in sports. He took a fucking nap. He said, quote, so this morning I went to lift. That's going to the gym. I came back. I took a nap. I woke up from my nap. My balls and my nutsack were exploded. Right? It got surgery and to reduce the size of his testicles. Unbelievable. What do you think caused that? This is the first I've heard of that, or has it happened before? Have other people been experiencing? This is interesting. I wonder if there's some other issues that are going to start coming up. That's exactly what I thought after I realized, holy shit. And then, of course, I checked mine. Everything's fine, right? But seriously, are we going to start seeing more strange medical conditions developing as we get further and further along in time and more people on the Jim Jones juice? Right? Are we going to start seeing that? People having hematomas, right? That is to say blood vessels that just swell because blood goes in, but they can't get out. So that's a hematoma, right? Are we going to start seeing people with contusions developing on their heads? If you get punched, if you get injured, right? You remember, I don't know if you remember as a kid, right? You would hold your finger up like this, and you got to be careful so you don't break your own finger. But you give someone a Charlie horse with that. You'd hit them on the thigh, and they get this big goose egg. Their leg would literally go whoop, and they get a goose egg because the body sends blood there real fast, and it swells up, right? In the cartoons you used to see if someone get hit on the head with a hammer, they get a big bump, right? Goose egg, hematoma. Are we going to start seeing medical issues? And I'm asking this genuinely. Anytime you get any sort of injury, people that have had the Jim Jones juice, are they going to start swelling up? I just don't know. I don't know what to take anymore. Right. So thankfully, Mr. Basketball player in Clemson there, he says his nutsack exploded, but I guess it didn't really explode, but it certainly swole up. Well, someone else, folks, wasn't quite so lucky. A Algerian soccer player dropped fucking dead during a championship match game. How many more do we have to see? How many more people just keeling over? It's not a joke. It's really not a joke. I know that you don't think it's a joke. I don't think it's a joke. And I'm going to finish up with this, right? Now, that was down in Algeria. But up in Norway, take another wild fucking guess. I wonder about this. Another soccer player, they call it football, but it's soccer. Another soccer player collapsed. Sudden cardiac arrest again during a tournament. Why is it soccer players are keeling over? Well, right now there's just a few NFL football teams left. And I'm sure right now all NFL players are probably going to their doctors. Hey, doc, give me some detox shit now, man. So at the preparedmind.club, we do have some detox stuff. I talked to Nikki a long time ago and said, I need the detox formulas there. And she got me the stuff I needed, told me what to do. But we've got stuff, instructions, help on the preparedmind.club. It's not just for lunatics who want to have a lot of cans of Spam and bullets. Right? Being prepared is prepared for everything. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine. Medicine, folks. So people are going to continue falling over and dying, having heart attacks. The greatest athletes on the planet, heart attacks. Unbelievable. Okay, Jolene. And by the way, we're up over 460 people live. I want us to hit 500 live. Now, this isn't all the people that have watched, folks. People come on, they leave, they come in, they have a couple drinks, then they go answer the phone, they go to dinner, they go out, they come back. By the time this show is done being watched, it'll be thousands and thousands and thousands of people have watched it. And that's good news. All right, Jolene, who do we have? Who wants to play? It is Darrenner P1 with a $20 super chat donation. He says, another cigar, thanks. Well, I'll tell you what, Darren Earp, I'll do that. There's a desk that I'm aware of. That way. No, it's that way. And it's got a box of cigars on it. I think I can probably go pick one of those up for $20. Thank you very much for the great support. Okay, Jolene, after that cigar information. Oh shit. Oh, boy. Joe M. with $99.99 says, have a shot of Macallan. Brother, I don't have any Macallan. I'm going to substitute with this fine Glenlivet 18-year single malt Scotch whiskey. But I tell you what I'm going to do for you, my friend. I'm going to get some Macallan. I'll get a shot of it as well. I really appreciate the generosity that everyone is showing, keeping this show live and keeping me well lubricated. Semper Fi. All right. So Joe asked the question, how long until a nuke is fired? Well, I just talked about the NATO general. Was it Bauer? Admiral Bauer, who said that, yeah, we're ready to fight you, Russia. Well, an Air Force general is predicting that we will be at war with China in 2025. And he says, I hope I am wrong. And a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, a Marine Corps general said, we need to be getting ready for a war with China. So this takes us back, folks. It takes me back in history to a time when we had great economic distress. It was the Great Depression of the 1930s. Now, while we were being depressed in America and the rest of the world, Germany snapped out of it. Germany was being funded by the Union Trust Bank in New York, the bankers in London, who were supporting the German Nazi fascist socialists. That's right, folks. Just a reminder, Nazis are socialists. That's right. Fascists are socialists. And we have a bunch of socialists in the Democrat Party, so that may ring a bell. So in the 1930s, Germany had their economy take off, and they built their fantastic war machine on the backs of slave labor. Sound familiar? And they were more than willing to go to war. The rest of the world was more than willing to go to war. In fact, they came up with the great lie after that, well, the war is always good for the economy because we start making stuff. Well, war is not necessarily good for anything, because in order to make that war stuff, government has to tax the people even more. Oh boy, that's right. The government needs to tax the people even more. So when they do that, what happens? But our standard of living goes down. The government makes more war materials, ships, planes, tanks, guns, bullets, etc. And we're in more debt. We, the people, are indebted more. Now, the merchants of war, the military-industrial complex, they do benefit from it, do they not? That's right. They get a profit for making stuff. So back to Joe M. He says, how long until a nuke is fired? That is a fantastic question. It is January 29th of 2023. The United States government has been throwing around nuclear threats. Russia has been responding with its own nuclear threats for the past 6 months. Very strongly in the last 3, Joe. This Air Force general is saying we're going to be at war in 2025 with China. I think, Joe, and I'm going to say this with a high degree of confidence, that before this year is up, a tactical nuke is going to be fired and detonated. And I think it will be detonated somewhere inside of Ukraine. I do. Whether it's fired by the Russians or whether it's a false flag, I can't say, because most of the witnesses will probably be dead. The odds of that escalating, I say, are 50-50. If a nuke is fired, Joe, and it goes off in or near a big city, it's going to remind the world of what the Holocaust, a nuclear Holocaust, will look like, and probably scare the living shit out of everybody, including the idiot politicians who are just bantering and throwing around the words. Yeah, well, we got nukes. Yeah, I'm going to say before the end of the year, somewhere in 2023, a nuke somewhere, Joe. And I put the odds pretty low. How long, though? I think it can be as soon as this year. I say 1 in 3. And I think there's a 1 in 2 chance there'll be a response, a nuclear response. But we're going to find out. I have potassium iodide tablets for myself and those in my immediate group. And I recommend having them to protect your thyroid from radioactive cesium, which is created and generated in a nuclear explosion. It gets in the air and it blows around, yada, yada, yada. If your body is full of iodine, it doesn't absorb it, and therefore you don't get thyroid cancer and die. All right, Joe, thank you. Number 1 for the donation. Number 2 for the McAllen. And number 3 for bringing up a very important topic. And like the U.S. Air Force general referring to war in China, I hope I too am wrong about this prediction that, yes, odds are before the end of this year, someone's going to light a couple of nukes off. Okay, Jolene. We're having some fun, aren't we? Uman. We got Uman in the balance as well, folks. He's there. And unbelievable what's going on. When are people going to learn, folks? Oregon man is wanted for attempted murder and kidnapping. How is he getting these women? Dating apps. Unbelievable. Now, and this is another one I want to talk about before we get back to your super chat donations. And by the way, we're at 496 people live. We're 4 away from getting 500 live at one shot. And we just, bam, nailed it. It's done. Where's my microphone? I got to do a mic drop. Instead, I'm going to do a scotch drop. Nice work, everyone, letting everyone else know to get here now. This is very, very, very important. Carolina Stanchik is a service member, and she is speaking out about her horrific injuries, folks. Her horrific injuries to her heart and her body. Heart attacks, stroke. Guess what? Cerveza bug. No, it's the Jim Jones juice, which is supposed to protect you from the cerveza bug, but it doesn't. It's supposed to keep you from giving it to others, but it doesn't. But what it will do is it'll destroy your life, give you heart attacks, stroke, blood clots, etc., etc. I feel really bad for Carolina Stanchik, but I'm very pleased that she is speaking up and speaking out and telling people. I mean, just the other day, Elon Musk, same thing. He came out, not out of the closet, folks. He came out and said, yeah, ever since I got that, my health has been crap, right? And he's got family members that are just getting screwed. And, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I'm not even going to cover the drag show. These are some sick fucks, folk. Bearded drag queen toast those who lick us where we pee in front of children. And what makes this even worse is this was done in the state of Texas. What the fuck is going on, Texas? Literally, what the fuck is going on? You're letting children be, I'm not even going to use the word entertained, sexualized by a bearded drag queen dressed in disgusting lingerie and saying shit like that. Unbelievable. It is just unbelievable where these people are at in their minds. Okay, we're going to skip that and we're going to go to what you want to talk about. Jolene, what do we have next? We have Nana Nay with a $5 super chat donation. She says, the Minnesota Senate passed a bill to allow abortion up to 9 months. On his desk and guaranteed to sign. Even European countries have limits. Now, that was one of the fascinating things I learned back when Roe v. Wade was handed back to the states and told the states, do what you want. And Americans went nuts. And then the media, in their fits of stupidity, went over and started asking Europeans what they thought. Europeans, of course, have the abortion, but there are very strict limits on it. I think the first term or 6 weeks or something like that, or 8 weeks. Most countries over there, nothing like here. They're like, hey, if you're going to get it done, you'll know when you're pregnant right away. It's not like it's a fucking surprise 9 months later. Geez, I haven't had my period for 9 months and I have a big belly. Wonder what's going on here. No, but in Minnesota, folks, Minnesota's just turning into an absolute shithole. It makes me sick that so many Swedes settled that area and they don't know their asses from a hole in the ground. Not all of them, just a majority of them, along with all of the other third world idiots that have migrated there and ruined that state. Yeah, they passed a bill allowing abortion at up to 9 months. Well, hell, California can't have that. What did they say? Oh, we're going to make it so you can kill your baby after it's born, right? Kind of a retroactive abortion. These people, folks, are pure evil. And as I said earlier this week, it is a death cult. They worship death. They do everything for death, whether it's war, for the sake of going to war, or just killing children. They're just sick. They're absolutely sick. Nana, I want to thank you for bringing that topic to our attention. Something we're going to continue. We will continue to keep our eye on. Just unbelievable where these people are trying to take this country. You know, it's wars are typically fought over what is right and what is not right. And we base our beliefs. We base our beliefs on what our fundamental moral systems, which are often religious in nature. Well, we had this activity happen. Israel is reportedly, allegedly behind the drone strikes that have been occurring in Iran. This is crazy news, folks. Crazy news. The Middle East has always been a hotbed of potential war, and it's religious in nature. It's religious in nature, right? The Israelis, everyone hates them, and they seem to hate everybody. So that prediction about nuclear war, a nuclear weapon being used by the end of the year, it very well could come out of Israel or end up landing in Israel. Does Iran have a nuke? I don't think so, and I sure hope not. But I know Pakistan has one, or several, and I know India has many as well. Right? It's not just the United States and Russia. It's England, it's France, I believe Germany. We've got a lot of trouble on our hands, folks. Economies go down. These idiots in Davos, Switzerland, are causing nothing but trouble for each other, for us. And I mean for each other, meaning they're fighting amongst themselves. They're fighting amongst themselves. Do they want war, or do they just want control? They want to destroy everything, or just the things they don't like? They can't even seem to figure it out for themselves. All right, Jolene, let's do this. We're over 1 hour. We're over 1 hour, and we'll go until the super chat donations are done, because you guys are putting the hurt on me. I'm supposed to wake up tomorrow and go contracting, right? So Christine Bihana does a $50 super chat donation, and good golly. Cheers. And there we go. Christine Bonner says, I say yes, we will start seeing weird things. Have a shot now. Done. You need to catch up to me now. Love you, and keep up doing what you are doing. I'm going to continue, Christine. I have to keep doing this. It's hard. I tell you what, there's some days where I'm like, look, I'm going to take the whole weekend off. I'm going to take Sunday night. And then I'm like, I can't take off Sunday Night Live. I can't not do it. Right? The YouTubers out there, they want to get into the action. They want to comment to each other and then just taking the whole week and going, what the fuck is going on? And kind of compressing it together for the Sunday Night Live Zoo. And then just basically preparing myself for what's coming up this week. It's incredible. And, you know, we had, I got Mr. T, he's making these for me, right? For all of us, right? He keeps making these just awesome promo pieces and videos and clips. We're deadly serious, folks, about what is happening. You know, I get Roger to pose for a lot of these because he's a pretty grumpy son of a bitch. I tell you, anyways, thank you, Christine Bana. Yeah, I'm catching up. I'm getting there. getting a little bit loopy, but I'm going to do what I can to keep talking about topics that are very important. And it really doesn't matter how much I drink. I'll pretty much still make sense. It's just, we got a lot to cover. There is a lot going on. So Jolene, who do we have next? I'm kind of scared now. Who do we have next? We have Chin Music is back with a $9.99 super chat donation. And he said, damn, first myocarditis and now elephantitis. I'm afraid to take any more wild guesses. Truth tellers, small kids, drunk people, yoga pants, or not. Right? It's Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci. We couldn't blame him, right? That man, that little man, folks. Right? We had this created, right? The Jim Jones juice. Take a wild freaking guess. There's not much guessing to do anymore. It's obvious. It's obvious what's going on. It's obvious to me. People's health are being affected. Their immune systems are shutting down. Their brains are shutting down. And I am hearing more and more from people on the street in my area. They're coming out and they're starting to talk about it. They're starting to publicly talk about it. They're starting to talk about it in places where normally they wouldn't, because they have nonpartisan businesses, right? And so you don't bring up certain things because it becomes a partisan fight, and you don't want to, hurt your business. But I think enough people have had their businesses smashed by Cerveza Bug, and smashed by the Jim Jones juice, and smashed, frankly, by Dr. Fauci and everything he's done. So now I think they've finally had enough. As the economy is slowing down and there's no stimulus checks, right? People are really feeling the pain. Really feeling the pain. Now let's switch gears again. Let's just step it on back up to the top. Right back up to the top. I want to get back to nuclear war. Russia has issued an urgent nuclear war warning. The doomsday clock, I'd like to know who the hell's in charge of that. The doomsday clock is the closest it's ever been to midnight. And the World Health Organization is urging nations to stockpile medicines for nuclear emergencies. We're on the brink right now, folks. It could be next week. It could be before the end of the year, but something is going to go nasty. Why is Russia, right? Why are they having to warn everybody? Just a simple question, right? What's the deal with Russia? Well, they really feel that everyone's looking for a fight with them, right? The doomsday clock, by the way, is set a minute and a half, 90 seconds before midnight. Right? That's the closest it's been ever since its creation in 1947. Right? The Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists, they're the ones who decide what time the doomsday clock is set at. And they're saying now the end is closer than it has ever been. Very interesting. It's closer than it's ever been. Now, I just happen to know a retired Army officer who said, well, actually, back before Reagan, there was a nuclear incident that nobody knows about. It was kept very quiet. We almost went and had nuclear war, but that never went public. There's been many times and many cases. Now, the other time that everyone's very aware of was the Cuban Missile Crisis. All right, we've been very close several times, and now they're claiming that we're even closer than those. Right, it's very interesting. Right, now Putin's spokesman, I can't remember if it was Lavrov or I think it was Sergei Lavrov, said that the Abrams and Leopard tanks that the U.S. and Germany are sending will burn like all the rest. Now, this is Rachel Bronson, head of the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists. Quote, Russia's thinly veiled threats to use nuclear weapons remind the world that escalation of the conflict by accident, intention, or miscalculation is a terrible risk. And that's just it. We can have an accident, or we can have a miscalculation. Now, when it comes to politicians and politics, right, what can you rely on the government for? To make mistakes, to do things for reasons that are politically expedient, but in no way solve problems or benefit the people. That's right. Now, Colonel Richard Black, retired chief of Army Criminal Law Division, right, and many others, folks, in the military, out of the military, etc., said that the globalists are marching us relentlessly toward nuclear Armageddon. And then Dmitry Medvedev, former president of Russia, he said, and by the way, he's good buddies with Vladimir Putin. He warned that a military defeat of Russia in Ukraine may lead to a nuclear war with NATO and the US. So what all of this, smells like to me is nothing but trouble. So I'm going to ask you this. Here is our SHTF scenario. And we got some super chat donations, I know. I'm aware. Jolene's let me know. We'll get back to you guys here in a second. But let us imagine that a nuclear bomb goes off in Paris, in Manchester, England, goes off in Frankfurt, Germany. Let's just take Rome right off the map. And then also the United States, New York, just outside of DC, Chicago, San Francisco. What do you think would happen? What do you think would happen to your food supply? Do you think that the stores would be full of food? Or do you think people would panic and go take all they can? What would happen to our electrical infrastructure? Would anyone pay attention to it and do their jobs? Or would everyone panic thinking that they were going to get nuked next? Right? Would people keep their shit together and put their heads down and do their fucking jobs and keep the water flowing to the houses? Keep the electricity through the power lines? Make sure the sewer pipes are still running? Would they keep their shit together or would they panic? Would people think the world was ending and that more were coming and that they were going to die and start doing the stupidest shit ever? It's hard to say, but think about it for yourself. Where do you live? Right? If you live way the hell out in North Dakota, all you've got to worry about is taking your cesium. Potassium iodide. Make sure you don't get radioactive cesium. Right? Because you're already living in SHTF all the time. Right? But if you live in cities, you have different concerns. If you live down south, up north on the coast, if you live 20 miles or 50 miles outside of a big city, a potential nuclear target. You live 20 miles or 50 miles outside of a military base like Fort Bragg or Camp Lejeune, right, or Fort Hood, Texas, or Fort Benning, Georgia. If you live anywhere near those, what do you expect would happen in your world? Are you prepared for that contingency, that potentiality? Where I'm at, right, there is some proximity to some military activity, and it concerns me. And so I have taken what precautions I can for such an event, such an issue. And here we are. All right. I just wanted to get that out there. And let's see. Russia. To those who allow themselves to make such statements about Russia, I would like to remind you that our country also has various means of destruction, and for some components more modern than those of the NATO countries. This was Putin, I believe. And if the territorial integrity of our country is threatened, we will certainly use all the means at our disposal to protect Russia and our people. It's not a bluff. That was Putin. That was Putin. And he believes that NATO and its masters have been planning this war and trying to crush Russia for a very long time. And he says they encourage gangs of international terrorists in the Caucasus Mountains, promoted offensive instruction of NATO close to our borders. Nuclear blackmail has been launched, right? He says we are talking not only about the shelling of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, that is by NATO, which is encouraged by the West, which threatens a nuclear catastrophe, but also about the statements of some high-ranking representatives in the NATO states about the possibility and admissibility of using weapons of mass destruction against Russia, nuclear weapons. We are in World War III already, folks. We're there. We're just not fully there yet. And we're well over 500 people live. And we've been here almost an hour and a half. We're closing in on the 90-minute mark. And Jolene, let's do a super chat donation. We got Red Scar with a $4.99 super chat donation. He says, what happens here in the U.S. when we go to war in Russia or China? Number one, government will claim that we have a national emergency and a state of war. They're going to try and pretend that that means your rights no longer exist. Whether it's the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, Fourth or Fifth, you bet they're going to claim that your rights have just disappeared and evaporated like steam from a tea kettle. That's exactly what happens here in the U.S., Red Scar. They're going to claim that they need to raise taxes. They need to go into wartime measures like they did back in World War II. That means rationing. Don't expect meat. They'll give you beetle grubs and crickets for dinner, and you'll like it. There won't be fuel. There won't be water. There'll be power outages, and they'll say, this is because of the war. And so expect it. Work hard, America, and we'll let you know how things are going in the war. Read 1984 by Orson Welles. They were in continuous, constant war, and nobody had a fucking clue what was really going on. It was just the government telling them what was going on. Now, we go to war in Russia or China, guess what? They will invoke mega woke military response. Everyone will have to put on fishnet stockings and camouflage lipstick before they go do BJs at their special clubs, right? But seriously, they'll probably end up instituting the draft. And I wonder how many men at that point are going to decide that they identify as a woman. How many people in the woke military are going to quit? They're going to go UA and just walk away from it. Unbelievable. We didn't sign up for this. We were in it for the gay sex. You bet that's what's going to happen, folks. Crazy shit. Now, to give you a little peace of mind, though, I did happen to hear from a Marine recruit, or a soon-to-be Marine recruit, who said that they are not taking kindly to the fruitcakes in Marine Corps boot camp. So I sure hope that they're maintaining some semblance of both decency and masculinity in the Marine Corps. Okay, thank you very much. Jolene, it's George Orwell. I said Orson Welles. Orson Welles was a very deep-voiced guy. Yeah, he did a lot of narration. Orson Welles was an actor. George Orwell, 1984. It must be the Scotch. George Orwell's 1984, folks, a masterpiece in what government tyranny and despotism can lead to. All right, Jolene, let's move along. We have William C. with a $5 super chat donation. He says, I think we will see an increase of Jim Jones juice cancer deaths as time goes by and immune systems continue to fail. Now, this is what I can share with you. And I think I can share this with you safely. Now, again, I'm no doctor, I'm no expert, I'm no scientist, but I've had people report to me that family members who had defeated cancer had it come back with a vengeance after the Jim Jones juice. Now, I do know that this also happens with regular people. They get the chemotherapy, they do the treatments, everything looks fine, and then all of a sudden it gets them again. But I'm continuing to hear about this, and it seems like it's very much tied to the Jim Jones juice, because it's not months afterwards, it's a mere number of weeks before they become ill and their health fails and they go off the proverbial cliff. It's saddening, and it's also maddening, because this is not necessary. But what is it that the globalists want? Well, the globalists also belong to the same families who are eugenicists. That is to say, they want to see humanity, the population of the world, taken down. The Georgia Guidestones, which were blown up, destroyed. And it's funny, they never did tell us who did it. They never did figure it out. Just one day they were blown up, and the next day they were broken, hauled off. The Georgia Guidestones say that the eugenicists, people like the World Economic Forum, they want to have the human population down to 500 million, tops. Tops. That means they need to kill off about 92% of the world's population. So for them, cancer, death, reprogramming of people's bodies so that they get trashed, they can't reproduce, they go sterile, they got no problem with that. They have absolutely no problem with it. They're good with it. So it suits their agenda for this to happen. And it doesn't matter to them how much suffering goes on our part, because hell, we're just nobody. We're peasants to them. Peasants, pissants. Okay, Jolene, who is next? What are we at next? We have Rutro. Uh-oh, it is Bonnie Blue back. Oh my God, with another $99.99 super chat donation. And we're at 544 people live. And Bonnie, you bought another one, another Glenlivet 18 for me. And I'm going to be sleeping like a baby tonight with all this medicine. Oh, man. I'm going to have a hell of a time waking up 0 dark 30, but I'll make it happen. Bonnie Blue, thank you. Oh, good golly. There we go. There we go. I've got 30 more minutes left. Now, Bonnie says this. Thank you to all working behind the scenes to make the Prepared Mind channel possible. I ordered potassium iodide after the Friday show for young adult family members I cannot convince to prep. I'm glad you did that, Bonnie. That's really nice of you to help them. But the thank you you're putting out to everyone working behind the scenes to make the Prepared Mind channel possible, there is a bunch of people. A lot of people want to remain anonymous. They're not in it for the glory or the attention. They just want the word to get out. Get prepared. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. You don't have to be special forces. You don't even have to be military. You don't have to be a woodsman or a hunter. You just need to use common sense. Food. How much food do I need if there's an emergency? You go out and you buy the appropriate food. You can get long-term food storage food. Last 25 years. Get enough food for you and everyone in your house to make it 6 months. It's not hard to do. Water. Get water purification straws. Go to the preparedmind.club. We've got communications gear. We've got water. We've got lots of stuff there. You have solar panels, batteries, so that you can have power, battery backup in the event the grid goes down because of anything. It doesn't matter. Every emergency, it's the same solutions. Every emergency, it's the same solutions. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, right? But I tell you what, nuclear war can be survived, folks. Not if you're anywhere near the bombs going off, but the radiation sickness, and then the problem that comes with that, right? The thyroid cancer. That's the big risk. All right. Thank you very much, Bonnie Blue, again. And again, thank you. And you know who you are behind the scenes, making this show happen. There's so much to making this show happen. It's hard to explain. It takes an enormous amount of energy and thought. And at the forefront of all this, of course, are two names that you're very familiar with, both Jolene, who works very hard for you guys, and Uman, who works very hard for you guys. And they don't ask for accolades and high fives or anything. They just do it because they give a fuck. Really. They do it because they give a shit. They care about you and they care about this country. They care about America. And everyone does. Right? You don't have to be a flag waving goofball. You just have to be a good American. All right. Wow. The medicine's going to work. All right, Jolene, who do we have up next? We got Uman. He says, I'm contented from the beginning that this is a sterility program. Easier to sterilize to reduce the population than to deal with all the dead bodies. Now, this is a fascinating statement. I'm going to get comfortable here. The Jim Jones juice. Look out, right? He says he's not contented. He's contended from the beginning. That is one of the key complaints that was made about a lot of the vaccinations that Bill Gates did and sent with his foundation to both Africa and the nation of India, that a lot of the people, male and female, became sterile, unable to procreate. So if they were to kill everyone off very quickly, of course, that would take an awful lot of tractors and there'd be an awful lot of holes in the ground that needed to be made and filled very quickly. In other words, it would be a stinky mess, right? Very dangerous, disease-ridden mess. So if they just make people sterile, you know, people will live long enough to bury everyone, but there's just no new babies coming. No new babies coming. So what evidence do we have to support this concept or thought that Uman has? Well, look at all the soy boys out there. Their bodies are jacked up on this soy, which is just loaded with plant estrogen. And men are not supposed to be getting loaded with estrogen. We're supposed to have testosterone. Makes us virile, masculine, large, muscle-bound men. Well, have you seen some of these skinny jeans wearing dudes? Pretty limp. I just don't know what to make of it, other than it looks like that's part of the program. All of the soy out there, the reduction in sperm counts amongst men. I also contend that some of this is natural, and that is to say that with all of the high quality medical care that humanity has gotten the last 100 years, that those among us who should have died were spared their lives, allowed to live, and then they went on to procreate. So we've had a lot of people procreating who probably shouldn't have. And so you end up with a weaker population, a weaker sustainable DNA matrix. Right. So here we are, folks. I guess the soy wasn't working fast enough. So what did they come up with? That's right. A way to readjust people's bodies. And what have we heard? I think we've heard more problems with women than men, which is kind of in line with a lot of the work that Bill Gates has done. Bill Gates, who is also friends with Jeffrey Epstein. The problem there is, women's menstrual cycles. Right away with the Jim Jones juice, we heard about that. We heard that women weren't carrying their babies to full term. Many, many, many more stillbirths and miscarriages, and then difficulty in conceiving altogether. So pretty crazy stuff. I sure hope that that we get a hold on this and get it fixed and reversed. I wonder how much damage, though, has been done. How much damage has been done that is permanent. Unbelievable. Jolene, what do we have up next? We have Will Sevy with $5 super chat donation. He says, John, what are your thoughts on reloading? A person can stockpile components more cheaply than freedom seeds. Now, you're absolutely correct. I reloaded for years and years and years. Let's see. Think about my first reloader in 93. It was right after Clinton took office. 92. It would have been 1993. I started reloading, and then I bought a reloader in, I think, 94. Dillon Progressive. Anyways. So, yeah, you can buy primer. You can buy powder. You can buy bullets cheaper. Then you can buy completely loaded components. But you also have to have the ability to clean the brass. Hopefully your ammunition doesn't have crimped primer pocket. And it's kind of technical, I know, but there's a lot of equipment and money that goes into investing in reloading. So you say that you can buy the components more cheaply than freedom seeds, but to get a progressive reloader with all of the equipment, you're going to spend a very pretty penny. You're going to spend anywhere between, I don't know, $1,500 and $3,000. Just depends on what unit you get, how many dies you get, and are you going to get carbide dies, of course. Of course, you're going to get carbide dies. Of course, you're going to buy Dillon, even though Hornady and RCBS make good units. But my thoughts on reloading. When shit hits the fan big time, when we've got Mad Max or Russians inside the wire, are you going to have time to go pick up your brass? Are you going to have time to clean it? Right? And are you going to have time to do all the reloading? Of course, you can say someone can do it, and it's a good idea. I really think reloading is great. It helps people understand what it is that you're dealing with when it comes to ammunition. And it's a nice hobby. It's a good way to relax. I used to do that. But there is a significant major investment to get started. And so to make the difference between the investment and buying factory-loaded ammunition worth it, you've got to shoot a lot. And most people have jobs, and they can't shoot as much as someone who is semi-retired or fully retired. But I do like the idea. Now, this is where being a prepper in a group is nice. If you've got a decent prepper group, you've got 4 guys or 10 families all together, you can all pitch in, right, and pay for a reloading system, a group reloading system that everyone has access to. And if someone were to leave, you just give them their money back and buy them out of their percentage of the machine, et cetera, et cetera. But that way people could use that equipment and reload. It is really a good thing to understand what it is that you're putting through your weapon. And then you'll make a mistake. You will. You'll put in a primer and miss your powder drop and set a bullet, and you've got a dud. Now you got a fucking problem. You do it one time, and you'll probably not do it again, right? Because you'll think, holy shit, what if that had happened in a life or death situation, right? I snapped a cap with no powder, and the bullet's lodged in the barrel. And if you run another bullet behind it, you can cause even more trouble. So anyways, it's a strange world. It's worth doing. I like it myself. Thank you, Will Sevy, very much. Jolene, what is next? Who do we have next? We're in here at 1 hour and 40 minutes. Arizona Unplugged checked in. He says, less than 2 weeks to change a life. Hope you all can make it. That is right there, folks. Vaughn with Backcountry Prepping. Arizona Unplugged. He's got a great charity event coming. If we could, let's put the address up for whatever site we have, internet site, etc. Vaughn is putting together a really cool charity system. It's going to help a life incredible, and I want to thank him again. It's not easy doing those sorts of things. So I'm going to definitely participate in that to the degree that I am capable of, having some fun with Vaughn on that one. Okay. You guys have kept me very, very fucking busy. Very busy tonight. Tucker Carlson, folks. There's a topic here we haven't really addressed. That is the Antifa protests. Now, Antifa was out there before the Memphis police story broke. Antifa was out there before the video was shown. Antifa was already rioting in Atlanta and other places because an Antifa member was killed by the police. And President Joe Biden still thinks Antifa is just an idea. Well, Tucker Carlson decided to address the topic. And Tucker is probably the only, Maria Bartiromo notwithstanding, she does a good job sometimes, but Tucker's the only real media person willing to call out these people on their bullshit, right? He's saying that their protests are coordinated and that they are basically props, political props and propaganda. And I agree with that as well. So Arizona Unplugged says February 14th at 4 p.m. Pacific time. That'll be 7 p.m. Eastern time. All right. You just keep us informed, Vaughn. We'll keep pushing for it at Arizona Unplugged YouTube channel. Anyways, back to these protests. I was really expecting more. I'm quite disappointed in Antifa. I watched a bunch of those young punks on video get their asses handed to them by a bunch of middle-aged, fat white men who got sick and tired of their shit, called them out, and started just decking and waylaying them. I enjoyed that. I'm not glamorizing violence or promoting it. I'm just saying I enjoyed watching the footage because normally it's Antifa picking on old women. Normally it's Antifa destroying businesses and breaking windows. Normally it's Antifa making other people's lives hell. But in this case, it was Antifa getting their asses kicked. The little screeching Antifa bitches weren't having the effect they normally do. You want to get in someone's face, you're going to get hurt. If you threaten violence, expect violence back. Very interesting what is going on. It is not 2020, the summer of love. The hatred of, well, President Trump exists, but he's not in the White House. So they can't seem to generate the anger, angst, and hatred that they normally have. They can't seem to get it up, as it were. Antifa is pretty limp. So we're wondering, waiting, and watching to see when this is going to get out of hand, if it can. Is it that George Soros isn't funding them? Is it that the further we get away from the Obama, shall we say, community organizing, the less effective they are? Could it be that their recruiting efforts are falling on deaf ears because other people think Antifa are a bunch of fucking idiots? Right? Maybe they're seeing their own system just spitting on their face because it is socialists in government who are allied with big business. That's their leaders. They're like, wait a minute, we're supposed to be Antifa, anti-fascist. Yet their leadership in Washington, D.C. is the closest thing we have to fascism and fascists. Unfreaking believable, folks. Okay, anyways, Tucker Carlson, once again, out there working on it. Now, this was also fascinating. We talked about Project Veritas earlier and the fact that they caught one of Pfizer's R&D jackasses bragging, right, about how they're making money off of and weaponizing cerveza bug. Well, YouTube removed Project Veritas's Pfizer video. Oh, don't worry, Rumble put it on their front page. Good. But YouTube is hiding facts. YouTube is hiding criminal admission. YouTube is involved in misinformation. You see, there is the sin of omission. That is, to refuse to promote or discuss or expose crime. And when I say promote it, I don't mean promote as in wanting more, but promote catching the criminals, to identify the criminals, to prosecute the criminals. It seems like YouTube is now doing what they can to hide the criminals. Social media, folks, in other words, all social media is anti-freedom, anti-America, anti-life, anti-law, while claiming they're here to do no harm. So I wanted to say that about YouTube. They're hiding the facts. They're hiding the crimes. And they're complicit in it, folks. They are misleading the public by hiding information from us. We're supposed to think that stuff is safe. And we'll continue to think that stuff is safe because YouTube is hiding facts. That is misinformation. You know, silence is violence and all. Unbelievable, folks. Just where are these people? I don't know where the hell they come from. Now, speaking of this again, the Food and Drug Administration. What do they put in this stuff? It's really gotten to me. But I think I make more sense than President Biden does when he's not drunk off his ass. Now, the first lawsuit has been filed against the Food and Drug Administration. Why? Because of the Jim Jones juice safety data. And it is awful. It is being described, this data, as dreadful. And the FDA has been hiding it, withholding it, not releasing it. And now here come the lawsuits. I would encourage you to join it, to join in the lawsuit, to participate, to support it. Call your congressman, write your congressman, tell your congressman, we want this exposed, right? It is Senator Johnson. We want that guy. Get out there, man, and call them in. We already have the evidence. We know the FDA has been wrongfully withholding information, right? The Children's Health Defense nonprofit organization has sued the U.S. Food and Drug Administration because they've been hiding the analysis, right? The FDA has acted like the proxy stooge for big pharmacy and blocked effective treatments that we discovered, right, that someone let out of the bag, right? Horse paste and the other one, I can't remember. I can't say the initials because they'd probably get very mad at me. Very, very mad at me. But yeah, horse paste, zinc, vitamin D, vitamin C, etc. They're like, nope. You need the Jim Jones juice. And then we find out, hey, right, it is dangerous. It is ineffective. It's unbelievable. The FDA lied about horse paste, and they lied about horse paste. They ignored the thousands and continue to ignore thousands of deaths and tens of thousands of other reported injuries, hospitalizations, and complications. And we're continuing to have people around the planet drop dead in front of stadium loads of people, in front of cameras. And I'm not just talking about sports people now. Now I'm talking about the news people falling over on their faces while reading the news. Very strenuous activity. Politicians keeling over while giving speeches, while sitting in parliament. Idiots. All the FDA has been is a big rubber fucking stamp. They haven't protected you, me, the public, nothing. Right? It has been a giant screw job. Now, what is the suit seeking? They want raw data from the FDA's analysis of reports, the VAERS system. Right? Now, they're claiming that the FDA is violating federal law. Right? They're violating federal law. I think that these people, if found guilty of violating federal law, they need to go to jail. At the very least, they need to be tried for obstruction of justice, violating the law, and they know it, right? This system, this VAERS system, which works on how good is the Jim Jones juice doing, right? That's a system designed to monitor it. And they run this in conjunction with the CDC, Centers for Disease Control. And so they're all in on it. They all are in on it. And everyone knows that they're full of shit. And everyone is learning how dangerous this system is. I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting. When are we going to get a load of these people, folks? Okay. When are we going to get a hold of them? When are we going to get some fucking answers out of them? You know, this story came up over the weekend. Come on, story. There we go. In Kentucky, a newspaper there said about the Holocaust Remembrance Day. And their quote was, "Jews do not have a monopoly on persecution." And I read that and I thought, this is very interesting. No, they don't. Of course they don't. Nobody has a monopoly on persecution. But the World War II Nazi Holocaust, which was a crime against Jews and all peoples the Nazis didn't like, right? That really got a lot of attention. So this opinion editorial was written in this Kentucky newspaper, and it was composed by 5 different contributors at that newspaper. So they had this article, and it began with a declaration. As one Louisville rabbi, a rabbi is a Jewish priest, folks. As one Louisville rabbi recently said, January 27th is a teachable moment to remember all the hate speech and all the violence that is perpetrated or perpetuated against religions, races, and genders. All those acts committed in the past and those that continue to this day. So I say this, and I wanted to end the show with this, on this note, right? Do not close your eyes to the tyrants, to the dictators, and to the murderers of today. Right? They're here now, and they're committing the same atrocities now. The way they're doing it may be different, right? The Nazis, at the very least, were forthcoming and honest, right? They were rounding up Jews. They were rounding up gypsies. They were rounding up undesirables. They didn't, they didn't hide that really well. Trainloads of people leaving, pretty fucking obvious what's going on. Today, they proclaim that freedom is wrong and freedom is dangerous as they try and take our freedoms. Right? They confuse people. They gaslight them. They lie to them. Everybody they're lying to, absolutely. And it's unfucking believable to me. Even in a state of semi-intoxication, it's like, wow. I can see it all very clearly, whether they're communist or socialist, or they're pretending to be, right, these sanctimonious world leaders. Ultimately, they couldn't give a fuck about us, and their agenda is all they care about. Right? They're tyrants. The Europeans have said and been caught saying, let's use the Ukrainian people, right, and just waylay them, just get them to kill themselves by just shoving them in front of the Russian military. So then they can scream that, see how bad the Russians are for doing that? It's awful. Looking around, this should all be a teachable moment. And I really don't care about hate speech. What I care about is violence that is committed against men, women, and children everywhere. Men, women, and children everywhere. Utah has now banned puberty blockers, hormones, and surgical sex change procedures on minors. Right? That is a modern Holocaust that is occurring right now. The millions of children in the United States and around the world that are being told not to be the gender they were born. They're being told that they want to be something different. They're being told that they should mutilate themselves, that they should take drugs, that they should just destroy their bodies, their fertility. Uman's comment that, yeah, right, the Jim Jones juice is about sterility, removing the ability to procreate. There's so much of this that's going on, folks. Shit has hit the fan. They're coming after us, and we can fight back. Utah is a great example. We can fight back, and we can win against this woke, ridiculous nonsense that is, folks, tyrannical. It is despotic, and it is evil, and it is part of their death cult. I want to thank everyone for coming in tonight and participating at the zoo. Sunday Night Live, it's been a great show, a lot of information, and this week is going to get stupid. I can feel it in my balls. If you'll excuse the expression, right? From your balls to your bones, right? You know it. There's something really big coming this week. Will Seve throws a $5 super chat donation out there. He says, thanks for all you do. You have inspired me to look into more long-term prepping instead of just a few weeks worth. In long term, you can get 2, 3, 4 months of food that'll last 25 years. And it just gets set aside. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to go count your cans every day. You can get complete meals that'll take care of you and your family for months. And it can just sit on a pallet. It can be stored away. It's very compact. You don't have to do anything special except eat it in an emergency. And thank you, Will, as well. Thank you. You are helping others. Thank you for notifying people to come see this show. We had a lot of new people come in today. Well over 500 people live at one time, and it'll be thousands by the time this video is out. You guys be cool, be safe. Chance favors the prepared mind is yours. Godspeed. Semper Fi. You can see it coming. We're all prophets, meaning we can all be teachers, learning from what we see and helping others learn so they too can help themselves.